Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Cory Rodriguez.
And my name is Nguyen.
And this is Coog Cinema. So, before we get started into deep discussion, let's take a look at our first impressions after we left the theater. We just got out of the theater from watching Me Before You, and first impressions, what do you think?
Well, I can only say when Khaleesi taking care of Finnick O'Dare, you have a rom-com that's only meh.
I thought it was quirky and a little bit different from what you would expect in a rom-com. Overall, I really enjoyed it though. It didn't feel artificial. It was very welcomed, I would say. I liked it overall.
That's interesting.
But let's go to the studio to discuss this further.
Interesting. We're gonna have a long debate about this. Now that we've seen our impressions, let's see if we still feel the same way.
Yeah, when I first left, I was like, it's quirky, it's great. Something I have come to realize is that it's very colorful for a story with a very dark underlying plot. I mean,
right.
One of the main characters is paralyzed, right? You think the whole time you're going to be very somber about it all. You're kind of like on the edge of your seat, almost in tears. That wasn't the case. I actually felt a little bit more humored, and I really liked the twist they had on it. I felt like it was a very British thing to do. I don't know. How do you feel about the whole humor? I know it's a rom-com, but how was the humor? Was it too much or was it too little?
Well, the thing about the humor is that it's functional. That's the word that I would use. But I'd say the film would work better when it's more subtle, toned down with the humor. Emilia Clarke in particular, who all of you will know her as Khaleesi.
Daenerys Targaryen.
Yeah. No dragons in this one though, but she's totally changed into a new leaf. She's wearing these ridiculous costumes and she's totally aloof. Zooey Deschanel like. Yeah, it's just the humor is like I said, the humor is fine and it's not anything groundbreaking, and it works best when Emilia Clarke doesn't force it too much.
Definitely. I do think that her performance was strong though. I don't know, how do you feel? How does it compare to her other roles? I guess Game of Thrones. I don't know any other major roles that she's been in.
Thing is, this is a very different role for her.
Yeah.
And we know her as Khaleesi again, and she also tried out as a Sarah Connor in Terminator Genesis. Genesis, thank you.
Yeah, that's the word.
Yeah. I was just asking, yeah.
Anyway.
Anyway.
It's just a test.
So this is like a totally strange thing for her to do, and it's an uneven performance. Like I said, if she doesn't
uneven toward whom? Do you think hers was a lot stronger? Is that what you're saying? One performance was a lot stronger than the other? When you say it was uneven?
Yeah, I think, like I said, she's good when she tones it down, and there's that one dramatic scene, when she confronts Will about his final decision.
Right.
That was effective.
Yeah.
But other than that, when she's quirky at a certain level, that's cute. But then there's a certain point where it's grating, especially when the restaurant sequence at the horse racing place.
Yeah.
That was a little bit too much.
Yeah.
I was having a migraine at that part.
Oh, really? I thought that was quite funny. It was well played out. Yeah, her acting could have been a little bit stronger. You have to give her some credit though for her eyebrows. I mean, come on, the way she's able to move her eyebrows, it is magical, fascinating. I couldn't stop staring. I was like, I don't even know what color her eyes are, but those eyebrows.
I think that was a problem as well. It's just her eyebrows are too animated, but it sets her apart.
Yeah, definitely. Her character is very strong. Okay, something worth noting that we need to cover is that this was actually based off of a book. I didn't know that going in, but did it feel like that at all?
It feels very... There was... before I begin, the screenwriter for the film is also the writer of the book.
Ah, okay.
But the translation was a little bit rough because everything played out on screen in a very like page by page, chapter by chapter way, leisurely reading pace, and that might work in a book, but for a film, it does feel a little bit unnatural, stoic in a way. But I wish they would have. I wish they would have gone with the original screenwriters. They actually called the duo who wrote 500 Days of Summer to pen the script, and it was on some news outlets as well.
Ah, okay,
But then at the end, they switch it to her, I guess. I mean, we could have had a good translation like Gillian Flynn, the author of Gone Girl, did with the movie as well, but apparently it doesn't work out here.
So you don't think that it translates well from a book to a movie? It should just stay as a book more so?
Yeah, I think so. Or it could get someone who knows film, screenwriting, film writing, more like the translation and adaptation.
Right. I definitely think this is a good film to watch just to kind of get like a standard rom-com, I would say. It's not poor, but it's not fantastic. It was a good watch, I would say. It was entertaining. Definitely worth watching with your significant other. It's not The Fault in Our Stars. Like, it makes The Fault in Our Stars look kind of cheesy, to be honest. Like, I felt this was great. They didn't say I love you. They didn't say okay a million times.
Right.
There wasn't any like quirk about it. But even though it was kind of quirky in their act and whatnot, there wasn't any like thing that made me want to puke throughout it. You know,
Right.
I was not vomit induced at any point during the film. So I think that's a plus. Positive. Thumbs up to the screenwriter on that.
But now that you mentioned The Fault in Our Stars, do you think that this is exactly the same to that? This is exactly the same
you
to The Fault
have
in Our
one
Stars?
guy who's destined to die and a girl. Okay, but here's the difference.
Good looking too.
It's a good. What the heck? Like, she would not be. I'm just saying. Like, realistically, if he was not attractive, she would not be his caretaker. I know she's doing it for the money, but like, is it really only just the money? I have a hard time believing that. I mean, even if he's a great looking guy, I'll admit. If I were in her shoes, I would honestly be his caretaker, in a very heterosexual way. Because he's good looking. He's a great guy. And he's sarcastic and funny. I think he would be great company. And it sounds like the money's great too. So, I mean, but if he was not as, attractive as he is, I'd be skeptical. I'd be like, I don't know, this seems kind of lame. Okay, but getting back on track.
Okay.
The difference between this and The Fault in Our Stars, our lead, Emilia Clarke, she's not destined to die. Like, she doesn't have this terminal condition.
She's not gonna have a tragic closure.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's not like this is the end of it all and we're just gonna both die off and it's gonna be beautiful because we only have so much time to enjoy each other, right?
Right.
It's not. It doesn't have that really grim undertone. It's a little bit lighter than that, I would say. And honestly, like, I feel like this works with a dark undertone a lot better than The Fault in Our Stars, right? And don't get me wrong, I love John Green. He's a fantastic writer. The books, however, much better, as in most cases.
Right.
But in this case, I thought the movie was acceptable. I have not read the book, so my judgment is probably not the best as far as comparing the two. Overall, though, I think I'd recommend watching the movie in addition to reading the book. But like I said, this is me saying this without having read the book.
Right. And yeah, like you said, I would say this is a pleasant watch as well. I mean, it's harmless, really. That's the word I would use. It's not bad. It's not good either. But, however, I would recommend the French film. I mean, if you can read subtitles, right?
Yeah.
You don't mind subtitles, right?
You'll get the joke.
Yeah. It's just watch the French film, the Oscar-nominated French film. I think it actually won too, but I'm gonna have to double check on that. It's late. Sorry. Anyway, the Intouchables.
The Intouchables. Okay.
Basically the same thing. Like a guy from the streets is asked to take care of a spoiled, rich, and in in the last stages of his life, old man. So yeah, so that's brilliant, and you see subtlety. Subtlety is key for a comedy with grim undertones.
Right, right.
Me Before You, it's kind of like, it's totally the opposite of that, and that's why it doesn't work for me. But still, like you said, and like I think too, like if you watch it, it's fine. It's good to cuddle with your significant other and maybe handkerchiefs.
I wasn't bawling tears at any point, and I kind of enjoyed that as well. Like The Fault in Our Stars, I kind of choked up a little bit, right? I had puke and vomit. There was just body fluids happening all over the place, so it wasn't enjoyable. It was messy. This was not messy. This was a clean watch. It was enjoyable. I could kick my feet back and relax, knowing that I'm not gonna have waterfalls raining down my cheeks and on the floor, right? Don't get the mop. But the story and acting aside, I would say it's very poetic. And you could argue that The Fault in Our Stars and other rom-coms are poetic as well. But this one was poetic, I would say, in its color and composition and other cinematic aspects, right? Outside of acting and whatnot.
Well, now this is where I think differently. I mean, if you enjoy music, and especially mainstream music, this is the film for you. Nowhere did I notice the soundtrack at all.
Yeah.
But it's just a collection of pop songs going on and on.
And it's not even upbeat pop songs. It's just like Ed Sheeran, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't like that, because now when I hear those songs, I already have a premonition of those songs. I already have opinions developed on those songs and images associated with it, with whatever I was experiencing at the time, or perhaps the album cover. At no point am I going to think of this movie when I listen to those songs again. So I feel like the movie just kind of hurt itself by not having an original soundtrack.
Yeah, and I think it's a misuse of the songs as well. It doesn't contribute to the movie in a way. It actually takes me out of this experience even more. So,
but then again, I can understand the strategy and the reasoning of including a pop song in a movie. It makes sense. You want people to recognize a pop song, and you want them to work hand in hand and help each other out in terms of generating revenue. But when all of your music is pop songs, or just other songs even, it's it's too much. It's not going to work.
And I mean, if you read the lyrics of of all the songs that they use in the film, you will see big flashing neon sign we're trying to make you cry. So cry.
So what was interesting, I think, kind of going along that same vein, it almost seemed like the writer was listening to those songs when he was writing it, and that he almost wrote it based off of those songs, because they fit a little bit too well. It was a little bit uncanny.
Well, it's just that I was actually a bit disappointed, because they managed to get Craig Armstrong, a very strong composer. He the most recent work that he did was the most recent work that he did was Victor Frankenstein, and that was a crap film. But prior to that, his most notable work, most recently, is The Great Gatsby.
And that's a great film.
Yeah, the soundtrack for that film, anachronistic rap in the Great Depression aside, it works. It works. It was great. It was present. You can see that it's there, and it adds more to the experience. Here, I don't know. If you're gonna get a popular composer to, work on your film, why, trample all over his work with pop songs?
Right.
Imagine Dragons.
Yeah, the sound was not the highlight of this movie, definitely. And the music, not at all. However, visually, what are your thoughts on the visuals of it?
Well, it was as subtle as the Big Ben's bell. Yeah, it was trying to make sure that that Emilia Clarke is quirky. She's really weird in this film by adding ridiculous costumes to her. And again, it comes back to the point where I said about subtlety and, you know, the overt quality. It doesn't have to be that overt. I know she's quirky already. Her eyebrows will do the thing. And some of the lines, that they're fine too. But, you know, it has to really beat you over the head that she's weird. He's mopey. Wherever they're going is pretty.
No, that was something I really enjoyed though, was the setting of the film. So if you took kind of a diagram,
right,
and each frame you took the average color and you laid it out in a line, right, you would see a vast spectrum of colors. But I think the predominant color that you would see, it would be yellow. There was a lot of yellow and warm tones in the film, which I thought was kind of nice and welcoming for a rom-com, right? You don't need something that's blue and dark and depressing. So this had a very lighthearted touch to it, and I really enjoyed that. And to kind of contrast what you said, so they might have gone a little bit overboard with expressing that, hey, Emilia Clarke, she's this really quirky, weird, funny girl, and she's funny because she's quirky. Haha, let's laugh because she's weird. So sure, they may have gone too far, but I really like what they did with that. She really stands out, and it's a little bit more iconic now. You don't see a lot of people commend films for their wardrobe, right? You don't say, oh, that costume design, that was my favorite part. That was the best thing ever. You just see those clothes? Those were choice. The way the colors work together. You know, people don't typically notice those things, but I think that definitely stands out in this, right? The use of costumes. And if you don't even realize that the costumes were like thought about, then I think they did their job well. If you feel like, hey, the costumes, I don't know if they did anything. You know, if you don't notice anything, then I think they're doing it right.
I'm happy you see that way because, I don't know. I mean, I'm not the most fashionable person in the world, but I think I can choose better wardrobe than her. I can
take off the scarf. That's what he's saying. Take off the scarf.
Yeah, and, you know, exactly, and those scenes like that where it's softer, where it's toned down, everything works. The film suddenly is okay. But then whenever it reverts back to being over the top, I was like, where's that nice part that I just saw like 2 minutes earlier? So, I don't know. And the fact that we have two semi-popular stars here, like Sam Claflin from The Hunger Games, and
Finnick, my boy,
and Snow White and the Huntsman, Prince Charming, and we have Emilia Clarke. Like, all right, I'm not gonna say who she is again, Mother of Dragons. But the fact that both of them are here in this rom-com, it makes you question about their career choices and actually the state of their career at the moment. They were in big films. Now they're in a rom-com that's way below their talents. So
now Sam is, I think, more iconic
baffling
as Finnick than Prince Charming in Snow White and the Huntsman, right? I think that's when people see him, that's what they first think of, right? And of course with Emilia, like the first thing that they're going to think of is Khaleesi, right? Is Daenerys Targaryen. I think what they're trying to do here is somewhat strategic. I think they're trying to kind of broaden their horizons. I don't think they want to be labeled as like one character. I think they really want to show their true acting ability. It probably, like in the business world, you have what's called a lateral change, right? And so think of it as a series of ladders, right?
Right.
They're basically switching ladders, and they may go on a lower rung, but the ladder itself is taller, right? And so in the short term, it seems like a very poor decision, but in the long term, it can reap some benefits for them in their career overall. So this may involve a little bit more strategy and not just naivety than you think.
I hope so. I just want them to see them doing something different, because this was
similar to another British actor. You have Daniel Radcliffe, right, who did Harry Potter for 10 years, something like that.
Yeah.
And when he did The Woman in Black, and now he's doing other stuff as well, like the Swiss Army Man, right? I think he kind of unintentionally was dug in a hole, and now he's forever just a grown-up Harry Potter and no longer another actor.
Right.
I think that's what these actors are trying to do. They're trying to make sure that they're not in a hole and not able to escape the characters that they relate to.
Well, that's a job. That's what being an actor is all about.
Yeah, definitely.
But come
But
on.
look at Johnny Depp, right?
Yeah.
What character do you go to with Johnny Depp? He's done so many things, right?
Jack Sparrow.
Yeah, I would say so, but he's done a good job of not like only being Jack Sparrow. He's done like a pretty wide array of films and characters that he's able to basically, not be characterized as only one. I think that's kind of what the actors are trying to do here. So I'm not going to peg them for that. I do think. What do you think of their pairing, though? Do you think that they could have worked better with other actors, possibly?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You feel like this pair was just like not meant for each other, like the King of Diamonds and the Queen of Spades. It's just not.
No. I mean, because we have like Emilia Clarke going overboard, and Sam Claflin, the Titanic, the sinking ship. I mean, it's the way that they're written is so one-dimensional. It's just, and the way that it's portrayed as well. Like I said, like it beats you over the head with the fact that they're here, she's here, and he's here. There's no I don't know. There's no relatability in that.
Yeah.
It's just caricatures I'm seeing.
The characters were slightly rounded. They weren't like super, like Prince Zuko round, But I wouldn't call them flat. Now the other characters in the film, however, they were, I don't know, just bland.
They were
not
there.
The caricatures, like you would say. Okay, so one thing that we have not talked about that just about every single review show hits on, I feel, maybe I'm wrong, is the ending of the movie, right?
Okay.
You watch a movie and people ask, how was the ending, right? That's something we haven't really shown any thoughts on.
Right.
I mean, how do you feel about it? Was it a good ending? I mean, it seems like it just flew under the radar here, and maybe that's a sign that it was acceptable.
Yeah, to me the ending was fine because, again.
You don't want to spoil it, right?
No, it's just, but I'm just going to say the tone of it, and that's why it's an acceptable ending, because it's light. It sweeps you up like that, rather than having done that for the rest of the way. Yeah. Great job.
Hit you in the palm.
Yeah, it's just closing out like that.
Yeah.
And that's what I like. Because
there wasn't any dramatic twist, no M. Night Shyamalan moves pulled, no rug swept under your feet, no aliens that come in at the end. Surprise! Yeah. It was aliens, or it was a dream the whole time, right? It was a very smooth transition.
It was.
They landed the plane. The plot landed the plane.
Right. As you said it. It was unsurprising, I would say.
But was it satisfying? Did you feel like it could have gone on for 20 more minutes? Or did you feel like it probably went on for 20 minutes too long?
No. It should stop right there.
Yeah.
But it can't.
I think I would agree. Yeah. I'm quite satisfied with the plot itself.
Right.
I mean, I didn't feel like I needed more. I didn't feel like it gave me too much. I think it was just the right amount. The portion of it was really good. It's like meatloaf, right? It's not your meal of choice. But when, home-cooked meatloaf at home, it's satisfying. When you're done, you're like, I'm good. I got what I needed.
Well, depending on what kind of meatloaf you're using.
That's true. Not everyone's a meatloaf fan. I don't know. I'm not a big fan. Like I said, it's not my choice.
This one was average to me, but I'm full, so I'd say it's fine.
Yeah. Okay, so is this run to the box office, watch it as soon as you can, or is this like, maybe if it's on pay-per-view, maybe if it's on Netflix? I mean, how would you rate this on the scale of like you need to watch to, if you put it on like number 50 on your list, maybe?
Nah, I would say rental. Redbox. Yeah.
I think this would definitely be good for a theater watch if there are no other must-see movies at the time that you and your significant other want to see. So if you can, and there's not another movie that you really want to see, I think this one's fine to watch at the theater. Otherwise, a rent is also a good option.
Right.
It's definitely a good component to make a good experience, a watching experience, right? You're not gonna want to make out the whole time. I don't think. I don't know how close you are with your significant other. Maybe, in the theater would be fine because it's a good movie to watch as like an outing. I think I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. I typically don't watch movies with girls or guys. I mean, I just watched a movie with a guy and a romantic movie at that. I'm on a bad streak. I'm just gonna stop while I'm not.
You gotta reevaluate your life choices.
Yeah. But like I said, yeah, I would still stick to my decision. Just go to the theater, watch it. If there are no other must-see movies.
Yeah. What? Or you can listen to me and just wait for a red box.
Right.
Or, even better, go and find The Untouchables. That's the ultimate, outcast saving rich person and life lesson film.
Awesome. Okay. Is there anything else that you wanted to bring up? I basically, I think, hit everything I wanted to cover.
Oh, well, just one last thing.
Yeah, sure.
Fun fact. The character Patrick, which is Emilia Clarke's boyfriend in the film, that's Neville. Try and see how much he has changed.
I still don't like him.
Huh?
I didn't like that character. He was, I don't know.
Well, Neville's branching out.
That's true. All right, that was a good sip. Thanks for watching the sip and, of course, the rest of this video. We really appreciate you taking the time to learn more about our opinions and whatnot. We hope to see you again here at Coog Cinema. Again, my name is Cory Rodriguez.
And my name is Nguyen Lee.
And you're watching CoogTV.
All right.
Go Cougs.